butts and knees. Is it already over? Is it already over? Get your tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over? Is it already over? I don't think it's over. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Small Town Underground on this Wednesday night show. We have a special show tonight that we're going to air, and it is a day after J6, but it's something that I like to continue to bring to light, years after it happened, because it's something near and dear to my heart. It's January 6th. As most of you guys know on the show, we do not call it an insurrection because it wasn't an insurrection. If you want to call it anything, you can call it a FED-surrection. But welcome to the show tonight. And if you're out there and you're new to the show, you can share this around any groups you want. And we welcome comments tonight because we've got a jam-packed show tonight. You're not going to be hearing a lot from me tonight. You're going to be hearing a lot. I've got 5 patriots here with me. Some of them I've never actually met, and some of them I've been following for a long time. But each one of these patriots were there on the ground during J6, and it's a little bit different. We're not talking about being arrested and put in prison, but I thought it would be good to share the stories because I have so many friends that were at January 6th, and I've shared with you guys on the show before. We had a group of about 10 of us, and a lot of us were working out on the road. And we'd already had a hotel that we had, the room was kind of booked. Not paid for it, but booked about 15 miles outside of D.C. And we're literally on the phone renting the van when everything kind of fell apart because a couple of people got sick and there was a couple of marital issues. And so we ultimately decided to cancel the trip, but we were that close to actually going up there. And I have no idea what my life would have been like or where I would have been. If that had happened, but there's 5 gentlemen here with me tonight that were there, and they went up there like so many others, and their lives have been affected by this, and so we want to spend a little time tonight just going through each one of their stories. What we're going to do is we're going to take about at least 10 minutes apiece and have each one of them share their story, what they were doing, what they did, how they went up there, where were they at. And we just want to kind of reflect on that. We're in 2026, Trump administration. We're hitting the ground hot and heavy here. Moving forward, and so much has came out. Ray Epps, one of the biggest red flags in the world. We remember Ashley Babbitt and her murder at the Capitol. There's still the lies that are going on about the officers, the D.C. Capitol Police that were killed when nobody was killed at this rally. We also remember, the recent revelations of the J6 pipe bomber, which we can probably get off into later. Don't really want to because I've watched the Glenn Beck stuff, and then a month later I saw that after 5 years they supposedly solved this crime, and there's a poor man in jail right now that's, if I believe, taking the rap for it. But you go down your own rabbit hole on that. That being said, we want to, this is a little bit of a celebration of a reflection, okay? And so I think what I'm going to do tonight is, and I didn't have time to put up all the graphics, so we're going to let each person, we'll start with you, Naha, and we're going to let each person go through, and let's take about 10 minutes and just tell us your J6 story, and folks, join us in the comments, okay? So I want you to begin, Naha.
Hello, David Naha. A lot of you know me, some of you don't. Glad to meet everybody tonight. Mr. Man of Valor.
Yes.
It's an honor. I've followed you on Facebook for a little while. So I voted early. I was spending voting day in Clarksville, Tennessee, on the other side of Nashville, on some work. And, I was all happy and fine when I went to bed. We were winning. Everything was great. I woke up the next morning and just about had a heart attack. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and kept looking. Decided, I went to the Rome rally on January the 4th, 2 days before, and I think that's when I made up my mind that I was going to J6.
Mm-hmm.
Came home. Told my wife, okay, well, I'm going out of town next week. She thought I was going for work.
Right.
Well, where are you going? I'm going to D.C. She said, no, you're not going without me. So, she hopped in the truck, and off we went. And it was great. I absolutely loved it. 7:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but love. And just a huge revival.
Right. It was a celebration, actually.
It was absolutely awesome.
I mean,
I couldn't believe it.
Right. I know it was serious.
I was ecstatic. Well, I thought we were actually going to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been so many people show up for anything in D.C. like they did that day.
Right.
And
right.
all the hopes in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 1 o'clock rolls around. I'm still standing there in front of the Washington Monument listening to Trump. I could see the Capitol. There's this big rebel flag that just, like the size of a bus it looked like from where I was standing. Folks already down there on the steps of the Capitol. And we're all still up here listening to Trump. So I knew something was wrong right then.
Mm-hmm.
I walked on my way down and saw Ray Epps.
You did see Ray Epps.
Yes.
You saw Ray Epps.
Standing right there on the side. We were walking through the mall, and he's right there on the sidewalk.
Telling you to go in the Capitol?
Yeah, we need to go in the Capitol.
Wow. So you were there,
yeah.
Ray Epps.
I'd say he probably had that same speech 40 times that day.
I'm sure he did.
As people walked
Ray
on
Epps
by.
tried to
Yes.
throw me into a cop.
Wow. All right.
And walked up. Barricades were already down before any of us. 90% of us were still.
So by the time you got up to the Capitol, the
Yeah.
barricades were already down.
Yeah, well, Trump was an hour late.
Yes.
On his speech.
And Alex Jones was there. They were having a big rally. They were telling people not to go to the Capitol. But by the time you get up there, you don't really know what's going on. The barricades are down.
It threw their timing off. So they started the insurrection before the patriots were even on their way to the Capitol. Because they had a timeline.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
it just, the whole time I was walking down there, I said, something's not right. Got there, hung out. I was right behind the scaffolds
Okay.
in the grass. Got hit with the pepper spray, all that good stuff. Had these folks coming out of nowhere that I'd never seen before, wearing tack vests and all this. Come on, we need to move forward. And y'all not Proud Boys. Now, I paid attention a little bit to the Proud Boys. There was no yellow and black. There was no any kind of anything.
That was us.
No.
Okay.
And then I had this other guy come up by himself in tack gears. We got to push forward. We got to push forward. I can't keep taking all this tear gas and stuff all by myself. He was fine. My eyes were redder than his, where I'd got it from the breeze,
Mm-hmm.
And it was just insane. I couldn't understand what was going on.
So it happened very quickly, right?
Extremely quick. And I guess it was about 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock. My wife said, well, I got to go to the bathroom. They didn't have any outhouses, nothing. Said, We had to walk all the way back across the mall. So I could let her use the restroom. When we were on our way back is when I was told that Ashley had been shot.
Wow. You know what's crazy is we watched it. I was ironworking at the time, and when that happened, we were able to see the video of that. You know, they pulled that video pretty dang quickly.
Very quick.
But man, that video was just so crazy to watch them right there, just out of the blue, them just taking the shots at her. And we still have no accountability. But don't let me take your time. Go ahead.
But you know, the whole time we were walking, the crowd that left Trump's speech and went to the Capitol, we were all, even all the way there, we were fine. Everybody was just, it like I said, it was like a big revival. The chaos was already happening at the Capitol steps.
Right.
And it just blew my mind. I didn't really understand it. And things just didn't seem right. I said from the day after, it was a setup. There was something going wrong.
Right.
And like I said, when we were on our way back from her going to the bathroom and I heard about that with Ashley, I looked at him and I said, well, it's time to go. And I took my last picture at 4:35 p.m. in D.C. when we walked to the truck.
So you were able to get out of there. You were not arrested. You got out of there. Okay.
I've been on a watch list for 5 years.
Right. So what I want to do is I want to tell the stories, then we'll kind of go back to how it's affected your life. So that's your story. About 4:30, you were able to get out of there, and that's we're going to leave it at that. That's
about
the day.
Half a block down.
Yes.
Black Lives Matter had their little van sitting up in an alleyway and threw eggs at us and whatnot.
Of course. I'm sure none of them got arrested.
No, absolutely not. They were in a brand new Mercedes Benz with 3 foot high stacks of crates of eggs.
Courtesy of George Soros, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a BLM hop van. 30 of them come running out of one van.
It was insane.
Right.
I just laughed. I was watching hit the sidewalk.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's move on. What do you, sir? We'll go ahead and get you in.
All right. I'm Tony Spurgeon. I know David, but it's the first time meeting all you guys. Nice to meet you. But
nice to meet you.
Yeah, sort of to make this story a little shorter. I was actually me and a bunch of my friends that was actually gonna go, and things worked out where just at the moment it came down just being me. So, and I had my dog with me, and just during this whole time it's cold. So, and actually when we get to DC, you guys keep in mind it's really cold up there. So I get up there the night before. I drove up, and since it was just me, I was going to stay in my truck, and I pulled up on the Potomac River there with one of those roads by the parks next to the Lincoln Monument, and I parked there, and this is like the evening before, and I go over and
okay, you got that parking space the evening before.
Yeah,
okay,
I got there.
You.
Yeah, I got there the evening before, and so I get out walking around, checking out stuff, just seeing the people that were there. Well, I ended up up behind the White House on this little skateboard park like thing. There's a big area out there where these streets come together, and watching these kids skateboard. Well, they was all dressed in black and had the hoodies and stuff on, and that never registered with me because I've never been into the politic part. Didn't know anything about Antifa or Black Lives Matter that much. But I was standing out there watching these kids skate, and they kept coming by like they'd hit you because I had a Trump shirt on or something, and they'd bump into you. But I just figured they're just kids. But anyway, so the next morning I get up, and I forget what time Trump's speech started. He started at like noon or something like that.
Right at about 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it was something like that. And so me and the dog, we had walked up there, and I was amazed at how many people were there. Right. And where they brought the stage out behind the White House is out close to one of those streets, and there was people up in the trees.
Really?
Yeah, they were sitting up in the trees looking at it and stuff, and they was like, I'd never seen that many people gathered together like that.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. And so we sat there, and we listened to the speech for a little while, and then I go back to my truck, get my chair, and it was about a 10-minute walk over to my truck. I bring my chair back up, and I put out a lawn chair there next to the Washington Monument, and we're still listening to the speech. And I've never seen any kind of this Ray Epps guy. I never seen him, and I never seen anybody. Even the guy who was with the buffalo horns, the shaman guy.
The shaman.
Shaman guy. Yeah. Now,
Man, I like the dude.
yeah, I know, right?
Yes.
He was.
He's pretty wild.
I know the crowd now, looking back where he was at, but I never actually laid eyes on him.
Right.
But so I sat there with my dog, and there's people coming by taking pictures of us in the lawn chair with our towels and blankets and stuff on. And so, but whenever the crowd started dispersing a little bit and going towards the Capitol building, well, I didn't think anything about it. I actually went back to my truck.
Okay.
And got in my truck, got warm, and sat there for about an hour. Well, I was looking. It's when there was a new social media platform that came out called Parler.
Yeah, I remember Parler.
Yeah. Well, everybody it's right whenever Trump had gotten kicked off that. Well, I was actually looking at it. And it showed on there that, they're going into the Capitol building. It's like, let's go check this out. So I take off walking up through there, and as I hit the National Mall, you could see the Capitol building. There is smoke and stuff going everywhere, and like people you could see people climbing walls and stuff. And the closer I got to the where the Grant pool's at, where Grant's on that horse,
yes,
you got the levels that go up to the Capitol. You got these little walls, walkways. But anyway, there was people that had taken those bicycle racks, like you take a bicycle and park it. It's like those galvanized racks. They had turned them sideways and made ladders out of them. All right. Those people and they were standing at the top of those. Come on. Mm-hmm. It was the kids that were on that park over our skateboarding the next day.
Oh, wow.
All them kids had taken those things. They were the ones standing there propping those things up and enticing people to climb those to get to the Capitol building.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and there's so many people. And another thing that I noticed that I actually told the agents whenever they was questioning me about it is there was all these little circles of people doing these prayers. And it was weird. I'd seen a lot of people praying for stuff. I grew up in a Christian family, but I'd never seen this type of prayer taking place. These vigils, and they were scattered around with just people in circles. And I found that weird for some reason. But as I'm going up through there, I noticed. I'm just going to throw this in there. There was a big AT&T. Like a cell phone tower like thing. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of like these lights you see on the side of the interstate when they're doing construction.
Right.
So I seen all that, and I'm going, the closer I get to the Capitol, and now I'm up there where the cameras and everything was. And what was odd to me is like where you go up to the front of the Capitol, where their stairs are, you got these barricades set up, and there's people on this side, the police, and then you got people that's trying to fight through the police. Well, once you get past them, there's nothing but a block wall there. Mm-hmm. Where you going to go? If you're trying to get in a building, why would you not go around and go find a door?
Right.
Yeah, they're standing there, and the people are climbing up behind them. And later I noticed that, the reason they had cameras set up pointing right at those areas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where they already had these these platforms built with cameras on them. And they were pointing right at where they had those little barricades. I sat there and looked at it for a minute. Then I go around so I'm walking up to the Capitol. I go around the east side of it and come up on the little balcony thing they have there.
Okay.
And when I get to that point and come around the balcony, it's one of the windows was knocked out that they had already knocked out of it, and people are sitting there going back and forth through it.
Now, is that the same window that we got the video of, or is it a different window?
No, I think there was. I seen two windows.
Okay, so there were several windows.
From what I seen, this one was on the east end, on the or the east side, facing the National Mall.
Okay,
that they laid it on Bobby.
So the thing is, when I got there, it had already been going on for probably an hour and a half or so. So I get up there, and there's just a bunch of people going in and out. And there's people standing around smoking cigarettes and stuff. And this is for any of the police. Whenever I was standing on that balcony, is when all the police started arriving, like from Virginia. You can see all the Virginia State Police coming up one side of the National Mall. And then there was lines of them that was marching. They were doing their little trot up the yard coming up to the Capitol. So we're all standing right there in that it's a little cutout. And they had opened one of the doors going into the side. And people were coming and going in and out of that. And so I ended up, I got up on that thing, and I went over to the edge, and I just kept looking down at where they were. This big fight thing was going on with tear gas and stuff, and it's like, why are they fighting right there? Mm-hmm. You know, and people were climbing the wall.
Yeah,
but I can't
imagine.
It's like, if you're going to fight, go to a door and try to get in a door.
I can't imagine. I know we got more stories.
Yeah,
but I can't imagine each one of you guys in a different position seeing all of this play out in just different capacities. Like it was amazing.
I'm telling you, it was
crazy.
mind blowing to hear.
Yeah.
There was so much energy there. I never felt.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
that.
it was crazy, but it was like it was nothing that was planned.
Right.
This was not. People were just like
right. In other words,
yeah.
You obviously we know that there was some conspiracy, coercion going on, but that's the whole point. Nobody was aiming to do any of this stuff. It's almost like you were being led into a mousetrap, right? Okay, yeah.
So I'm actually, so while I'm standing there, those cops that had been coming up the side with their shields and stuff, they came up and lined up along the wall right behind us, and I'm videoing them, and like, you know, doing like selfies and stuff, but I'm videoing it, and I'm asking them, what do we need to do? What's about to take place? Well, they wouldn't say anything to us. Mm-hmm. And there was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 of them. And just to make this short, they finally swung around. They pivoted around, and they cleaned that mezzanine off. And they made, if I happened to be on the side that you had to go through the window and exit. So once I went through the window, there's an officer standing there, several of them, and he tells us to stay right here. And he said, and whenever you leave, he told us which way to exit. Okay. So, and I want to say this, that when I went in that Capitol building, when I stepped through that window, the first thing that hit my mind, you're going to get is how in disrepair that Capitol building was in. The sheetrock was falling off the wall. The wallpaper was falling from the ceilings, and the just all the stuff that they decorate with, it looked like crap. Like they hadn't been nobody doing any kind of upkeep on it. That was just that.
Well, I mean, think about what was going on at that time.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
Yeah.
We were going through the middle of COVID, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Everything was shut down. I mean, God,
whatever it was, nobody had been doing any and it don't look like this had been there for a while.
Right. Gotcha.
So,
needless to say, he's a maintenance man.
Yeah, gotcha. You see things like that, right?
That's the first
I can't help going like amusement parks and
exactly.
not looking at all the welds and everything. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, we step in, and he tells us to. He finally tells us to go all the way down the hall. And what it was, we just walked all the way down the Capitol and went out the west end or the east end of the building. I've been saying no, it was the western end of the side of the building that I went up, not the eastern side. And he told us to exit on that end. So as I'm walking down through there, I actually come up on these huge pools of blood. And now, later, I knew that it was actually Babbitt. That's where they had shot. Like there was these, and it was deep. You know, when you see blood and it's come out, like it was that deep color.
Coagulated.
Yeah, it was. You knew somebody had probably died from that.
So you went by the blood.
I went right through the blood. I mean, people were going around. We weren't stepping in or nothing, but it was that you could follow the trail out the door.
Chills.
Yeah, it was. It was looking back on that. I was like, golly.
Yeah, and you didn't know it at the time.
Yeah,
you didn't know
what
was going on.
But this is what whenever we went through the National Guards, we're taking selfies with the National Guard stuff with all their or whatever the guards were.
What little National Guard was allowed to be out
whatever's there. There wasn't many. But anyway, they're just standing there holding their guns, and everybody's telling us which way to go. When we came out that end of the building, there's another whole set of cameras right there on that door where they was telling us to exit.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, they just didn't set these. It took a while to set these cameras up. So and that's when I came out of there. I ended up on the back side of the Capitol, and that's where I seen the other doors that they had, or windows that they had kicked out in the back side of it. and there was a lot of people gathered up there, and everybody. The biggest thing was everybody was like, "What is actually going on here?"
Right.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but that was pretty much the extent of. And I stood around there and talked to several people from Colorado, from California, from Washington, and everybody was like, "Well, not sure what just happened here," because what they on my way home, listening to the radio. That's when I started figuring out, oh, we just got bamboozled right here by. And another thing is, when all the video, I took a lot of video and a lot of pictures, and by the time I left the Capitol and got back to my truck down on Potomac, every one of those had been erased, and it wasn't just all the pictures on; it was just those videos and pictures that I had taken that day.
Okay, hold on. You're telling me,
Yep.
you're telling me that every picture you took at the Capitol,
Yep.
and by the time you get back to your phone, they're gone. You're
Back
not
to
the
my
first
truck.
person to tell me that.
No, actually, the agents that took me off the plane in Atlanta, whenever I told them that, they said, "Yeah, we know that." I was like, "You know that?"
Yeah.
Yeah. That. So.
I can verify, and I'm not going into a long story, but I've worked on the road and I've worked at military places before, and I can tell you right now, if you get caught taking pictures of any of that stuff, they have the ability to erase your phone, but they also have the ability to arrest you. So it's very important on some of these jobs I've been on that you don't take any pictures because they know when you're taking pictures. It's pretty crazy, but anyway.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. What a freaking story.
Yeah. That, that was a crazy trip, but none of it. I didn't go up there with the intention of thinking I was going to be involved in anything like that at all.
You don't strike me as a person that would.
No, and it ended up being that, and they came and like I said, they put me on the not no-fly list. But
I'm not going to say the same thing about William, but you do not strike me as a okay. All right, now, William, you hang tight. We know that you're a little long-winded, so I'm going to save you for the last. All right. So I want to invite Man of Valor next, Brad, and this is the first time we're actually getting to talk and hang out with him. He actually wrote a book we're going to get to later, but so grateful that you've joined us on the show, Brad. So we want to hear your story.
Awesome, man. I'm Brad. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Grew up in Greensboro. You guys are all Georgia boys, right?
Yes.
Alabama.
Yeah, we got Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina. There we go. Yeah, we got it all.
I love it, man. I love it, and I love what they were sharing. I heard so many overlaps, of course, stuff I saw that they saw too. But I thought I was country. Y'all are more country than I am. I got saved as an 18-year-old, and I did a lot of contract work and mission work. So I got to protect people, and I've done all kinds of various trips to 17 countries in my life. And I was posting a lot when the pandemic started. I just knew deep down, man, this thing is fully, you know what, this thing is completely contrived. So I start posting a lot on Facebook, and then I meet this girl that lives out in Texas, and some friend of hers had led her to my content. And so we end up talking for that whole summer of 2020. I end up moving to Texas. I get a rental place down the street from her, and then she and I went to the Capitol together. So she sets up a blog for me and helps me to start amplifying the message in case Facebook shuts down, because they're banning you, they're putting you in Facebook jail and all this stuff during the pandemic, of course, or plandemic. And so she helps me set up this cool blog called battleborn.live. And so the feds caught wind of that at some point, and this whole thing just became a perfect storm for them to shut me up. And that was what it was in my situation, was really, we don't like this guy talking about the truth. I was waking people up about operations, because we're in a huge military operation. This whole 5 years plus is absolutely an operation. I knew a lot about it. I've got a lot of still connections with a lot of vets and a lot of guys that are doing a lot of different things. And there's bits and pieces that they're all saying that lines up just identical the whole time through this last 5 years. But so I'm waking people up about all that stuff, and I'm talking about, child sex trafficking rescue. I'm talking about things Trump's doing and signing. I'm talking about, like I just said, military ops. I'm talking about, tyranny and lockdowns and pandemic and COVID and all that. So, I never got it really perfect. I didn't have every fact. I'm not 100% perfect, but I had the right intention and the right heart. And what I said was really threatening to them. And they told me as much when I started dealing with the DOJ after the Capitol thing, and I turned myself in and all that. And so they made it really clear that they didn't appreciate me telling the truth like that. And their goal was to shut me up, number one, and number two, take my guns.
Yeah.
And they did that for a couple of years, like they did most of us. So I heard so many overlaps there of what these guys were saying. Is the optics of what was seen that day is very similar. We flew from Texas here to North Carolina, where I'm from, and we loaded up another friend who's just vanished. I don't think he's dead, but I don't know where he's at. He rode with us. We actually took his car. We drove up from here because we didn't have a car because we flew. And so the three of us make our way up there, and we stay the night before with other friends, and we meet up with other folks that are like former friends, people that I had already known in the past, and people that were followers of the content I was sharing, and we all just kind of linked up. And the feds knew that. They were grilling me later on, a year later, about all that stuff. And I don't remember all the names at the time, and I'm damn sure not going to tell names if I did remember. I don't know like that. But they got the wrong guy. So we all met up, and the night before on the 5th, we didn't go to any activities. We stayed in the hotel, and we stayed up pretty late there. And we had this security meeting to talk about Antifa and BLM the next day, the 6th, and what we should do and how we're not going to take weapons over there. We need to look out for each other. We need to keep everybody safe. We need to look out for the women. There wasn't a ton of women. It was mostly guys, but there was a few. My girlfriend was one of them at the time. And so it turned into like a 1776 Patriot prayer meeting. I mean, we prayed over the day. We prayed over America. I mean, I love what he said. My brother said a little bit ago about all the prayer circles the next day. It was really mind blowing, actually. And I've been around that because I've been a Christian, like I said, since I was 17 and a half. So I got to see all kinds of stuff overseas along the lines of like crossing over with military contract stuff and missionary. So I saw a lot of cool God things and revival and prayer and healings and demonic and angelic. I mean, I've seen all kinds of stuff in different countries because it's wild out there, especially when you get to Africa, Asia, Middle East. And so we have this amazing prayer meeting. We're praying about the next day, and it just was one of the most memorable, profound things I ever got to be a part of in my life. Made friends with a Marine who protected Obama and Condoleezza and Clinton. So he's from far away, out of state, way out in the west, northwest, and we're best buddies to this day. But so we end up the next morning parking, walking through the Iwo Jima Marine Memorial, take a photo with 25, 30, 35 people. And so we start really hanging with my Marine buddy. And so me and my girl and him kind of end up spending most of the day together after a certain point. And we go past Arlington National Cemetery. We get to take in all the sights and everything these guys said. Like, you just start to arrive at the Washington Monument, and you realize, man, there's hundreds of thousands of people here easily.
Right.
I mean, it ain't like you're confused, like, oh, there might be 4,000. No, we're talking 20, 30, 40, 50,000. I mean, tons.
4,000 or 5,000 by 8 o'clock in the morning.
I think so. And it was probably 7:30, 8 by the time I was just looking through some photos and videos. It was actually really fun to do because I haven't released them or ever hardly even looked at them or shared them at all until yesterday on the anniversary. But I was looking at timestamps. It was like 8:30 in the morning, just like you're saying. And then, man, it just they're just piling in. And so everybody's having fun. Everybody's a patriot. Everybody's united. Everybody's listening to Trump when he came on an hour late. Couldn't hear him that great, but I saw what these guys saw with the people in the trees. I mean, there's videos you can even see on X and different things where these guys are filming from up in the trees. And it was like a Bible story. Zacchaeus, climbing up up a sycamore tree to get a look at Jesus or whatever. Yeah. So Trump gave his normal, speech. It wasn't anything that different to me. And I remember when he wrapped up, he just said, let's peacefully and patriotically walk up to the Capitol. And so that's what everybody did. And I started seeing certain things that these other guys said along the way. I saw the bike racks, not in a set up fashion where they should have been properly protocol, but I saw those. There was like maybe a couple little orange construction nets that are a foot high out in the grass, but they weren't even connected to each other. There was no security at all of any kind stopping you or anything. When we finally later went in the doors, the cops just ushered everybody right in, or I wouldn't have gone in the building. But I agree, and it doesn't matter if I agree because it's a fact that the people who did the breaking of windows and ridiculous crap was before all the patriots got up there. That's just a fact. They went during his speech. They already started. It took time for me to review and study and watch videos and kind of unwind the psychological operation because I went through a pretty rough one with torture and stuff with them. But to like review all this stuff and realize that was the case. And so I'm right at the front lines, man, right there on the west side by the mall. The east side's on the back with the Supreme Court, but I was on the west, like most people that you would naturally walk up by default from the ellipse, the White House. And so I'm like, I don't know, 30, 40 feet from the police line when they're there. And I kid you not, the worst thing you saw happening was maybe a patriot threw a water bottle or a half drunk, Dasani or something like that at the police or something.
Yeah.
And the police absolutely 100% started inciting the people first. I mean, they started with paintballs. They started with pepper spray. They started with concussive grenades. The guy that we rode up with, at some point, I wasn't right next to him, but we kind of got separated a tiny bit or whatever. And he took one to the face. He put up his hand and he blocked his face. And he ended up with like 3rd-degree burns on his face and hand. And a doctor was tending to him. And it kept him out of the Capitol, so it saved him from jail of what I went through. And then finally, after, like these guys were saying, it's very similar, like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I don't remember the exact timestamp now, but it was a while. After everything had gone on, we watched and observed. When all the masses went up there and went in, and the police there was no line that they were holding. There was no anything. The doors were open. And these guys are right. I mean, people are thanking them for their service. People are taking photos with them. People are just sightseeing and looking at the grandeur of the outside and inside of the Capitol building. We went in. We walked through I think it's the crypt right there when you first go in with all the columns. And it's like tons of bodies. You're getting kind of hot and overheated. There's so many people in there. I never saw violence inside there. I never saw anybody.
So you went into the Capitol.
I did.
Wow.
I spent about 20 minutes in there.
Wow. All right.
And opened the Senate door where Jake Chansley, the shaman you are talking about, was down there on the blue floor, Senate floor chamber. And so we're up in like the balcony because that's the door we opened just by happenstance. I was looking for a door to leave. At that point, I'm ready to get out of the building. And I started to feel like I'm not real big on like being in tight spaces and closed off spaces and stuff. So that got a lot worse later on that summer being held in captivity. But so we pop out and see that Senate room, and there's people taking photos. I didn't see anybody break anything or hurt anything, and I wasn't there to touch anything or harm anything. I never did. I wasn't raised like that. As a Christian, that's not how I roll. It's not right. But I was there to make it clear with 1.1 million other people is what I've heard the military has estimated through aircraft calculations that were there. Pretty much the same thing. We know you stole this election.
Absolutely.
We know that you guys are corrupt. We know that there's cowards in Senate that are certifying a fraudulent election, like Mike Pence, who was the VP who
got
did that.
the coin.
Oh yeah,
I watched that video today, and it just.
Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking about. And so we were there. I mean, the optics of it all. Like, we know that you stole it, and we're not going to stand by for it. And I thought, probably naively, that the actions that we took to all be there together in solidarity would change the course of history. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have gone home. Yeah. I thought this is going to absolutely change this.
Right.
And the people will be heard. The will of the people. It's like in Venezuela or wherever else when, hell, 80% of the country's out in the street saying, we're glad the tyrant has fallen. Like, thank God. Well, then are you clueless? Like, that's what the will of the people is, you moron,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what clearly it was in America at that point. But went through the building, finally started to make our way out. I didn't see Ashley Babbitt's situation, but I heard about it pretty quickly within no time, just by checking my phone like these guys were doing, checking apps, and people are texting me and friends. I also had the experience of text message completely vanished. I've got a friend of mine. She's done a lot of work for the election and for integrity and voting up in PA, but she swears, and she's telling the truth. I know that her text to me that day as we were trying to all link up, her husband and I and my friends, they vanished. And she's got texts from me before that day. She's got texts after, once I got released that summer, into the summer, and they had somehow removed those that day.
Yeah.
And so that's not a one-off kind of thing. I don't think I lost photos, but certainly those messages were removed somehow, some way. And of course that technology exists in some form.
Absolutely.
So we end up leaving, and you don't want me to go into arrest part, do you? Like
Not
the part
yet.
where I terminate.
Not yet. We'll want everybody's stories, but we definitely want to hear about that. Yes.
We end up leaving, and of course, there's no getting out of facial recognition for me. I'm not wearing a mask. Never during the pandemic. I don't roll like that. I don't care what it's for. I didn't, and I'm not saying that to sound like better than somebody else. I don't roll like that. And so I never wore that. They had me on facial recognition. They had my cell phone pinging, and I made a video when I went out on the lawn when I walked out of the building. So we thought everything's fine. We start noticing, the hate comments and start realizing, wow, there's just some sick, wicked people here. Mm-hmm. Well, then Facebook deletes, turns off my account. I don't know if it was the next day or how soon it was. I can't remember exactly. And so we get in the car. We find our buddy that took the flashbang to the face. My Marine buddy ends up needing a ride. His ride had left or something for whatever reason. So we take him to the train station, hour away in Alexandria on our way home. So we're cruising down the road freezing, and my buddy's, got the window down trying to cool off his face. So we're all just like freezing our butts off in the car. Got back to Charlotte, flew back to Texas, and then I'll pause there because of where all hell broke loose after that.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to the part 2 on that. That's wild. So you actually went into the Capitol and you were there. Wow. Okay. So many questions that I want to ask, but I'm gonna refrain from that. But these stories are amazing, and we're on number 3. And mind you, none of y'all knew. Did y'all know? Did you two know each other before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we worked out.
but again, all 3 of you guys said the same thing. Every bit of this was going on before you got to the Capitol.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are peacefully marching up to the Capitol, and all hell is breaking loose. The doors are already open. The windows are busted open. Now, where is the truth? Where is the truth that we've been lied to for so many years of all of these people? But they tried to focus on the FED-surrection, the Ray-Epps, getting this thing open. So by the time you guys get there, this thing is blown wide open.
Yep.
Okay, I'll refrain. So I'm going to go to Dan next. Dan is not on camera with us. His name is simply Dan, and we've got him in the background, and you will be able to hear his audio, and we would like for you to tell your story, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well, it might be a little boring compared to these other guys' stories.
It's okay. No, you.
Yes, I'll go quick. But like the rest of you guys, just very frustrated with what was going on. It's obvious, a backed up toilet, and next thing you know, you lose 110,000 votes in Georgia. And I knew Dave. Dave and I went to Atlanta to try to just protest march in front of the courthouse. That did no good whatsoever. There was no politicians there to see us or hear us. You know, I did a bunch of writing and calling, and so did my wife, and just no real response. I bought $8,000 worth of billboards that said "Stop the Steal," just trying to get people to pay attention, listen, do something, and just hitting nothing but dead ends everywhere. And in the day before, I said, I can't take it. I got to go. I'm just going to get in the car and go. And I thought it was going to be like this kumbaya thing, like Martin Luther King with 1 million people out there on a sunny day. And I drove all night long to get there. I decided to park outside of the town and ride the subway or the train in. Because, there was all these, every time Trump had a rally in an inner city, someone would get hit with a brick or something. Mm-hmm. And so I was worried about my safety. I guess I'm a coward, but
No.
So I rode the subway in, and the minute we got off the subway, everything's closed in Washington, D.C. They're boarding up nice hotels. And I asked one of the guys, why are you boarding up this hotel? He says, because they're telling us we're going to have riots tonight. And I said, what the heck? That's so weird. And so we turn a corner and we're walking toward the Washington Monument and the ellipse where the president was going to speak. And there's Ray Epps. Looks right at me. We're going to the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, that's weird, man. The guy looked right at me. You see the shaman and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't want to hear people talk. I'd been to other rallies before, and I was interested in just being near the Capitol and kind of showing the congressmen and senators that, we know what's going on. Right. And those of you that have a backbone, stick to it. We want you to stick to it. And I actually was dumb enough to think that we might see some of these guys walking in the Capitol, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Ted Cruz or something. And I actually asked the Capitol Police, because we were talking to a bunch of them early. I was there early because we didn't spend much time at the White House listening to speeches. It was a gray day. And unlike Dave, I wasn't in a festive mood at all. I was depressed.
Sure.
I've never been to Washington, D.C. before. I couldn't wait to see the Washington Monument, my hero, George Washington. And all I could think of is we're losing it. We just may have lost our country. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yes.
So we're down there.
Need
where do
some
we
Kleenex.
sit? Where do we stand? Where do we watch? Where do we holler at, whoever when they're coming in? And the Capitol policeman, he just kind of laughed. Like, they're not going to listen to you. And it was sad. And he was sad about saying it, but it was totally true. And so we spent more of our time down there. We walked around the front, walked around the side. Where can we see something? Where can we holler something? And what a waste. So then when Trump was speaking, we bolted down there real quick, listened to a few minutes of his speech. It was the same speech we heard before. So we hightailed it down to the Capitol. Watched the guy in the black coat. All these guys in black coats look like military guy or feds guys. He's the one moving all the barriers, yelling at everyone, go to the front, go to the Capitol, go to the front. And but we weren't stupid enough to, I shouldn't say it's stupid enough, but we weren't gung-ho enough. I was scared enough to not just go listen to what this guy said. And I had so many of these guys come up to me. Go on. Go around the front with us. There's only 2 cops up there. We can take them. And we just look them in the eye and like, no, I'm not going to go attack a cop. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it's just because I'm a normal average size guy that might have a muscle or two. Most of the people there were like 75-year-old grandpas and grandmas. I mean, they're walking with canes. They're just patriotic people that couldn't storm the Capitol, you know? So we watched the flashbangs happen. I was just back a little bit. I wasn't up in the fracas. I was behind the police line and off to the left. And, the ambulance had to come by us. We were kind of the route to get in and out. And I thought to myself, where is the SWAT team? Where are the reinforcements to stop this before it gets out of control? And it just never came. As I said, we gotta move back. Because they're going to come. We're going to get pinned in this. We're going to have nowhere to go. We're going to get pinned up against that wall.
Right.
That you see a picture of that guy climbing that wall.
Yes.
So we moved back, and then it wasn't long after that we saw tear gas, and I said, "We got to get out of here before this is going to erupt," you know. And so we hightailed it out of there. No porta potties, no restaurants open, antagonizing people. It's obviously, like you said, it was a planned kind of thing. It was just terrible. But we got out of there. I got out of there fast. No one bothered me because I didn't break any lines. I didn't go up on a balcony, and I was out of town. And I think I got a subway receipt to prove it before, the Capitol got breached.
Right.
It was just, for me, it was a very, very sad day. And we were all just kind of, those of us around, I was texting my dad to find out what's going on in the Senate because he's watching the news. And when he said that McConnell crushed it, that's when people, I think, really got agitated. That's when the, flashbangs really started going. And that's about all I can tell you.
Wow. Very powerful. I can tell you we had talked about going for a while, and when it all kind of fell through, I'll never forget that morning. And I found out, because never ever crossed my mind that the Capitol would be breached, right? Because I knew a lot of people that were going up there. But then to hear that and to start seeing the early videos at that time of the Capitol being breached, and I was like, the first thing I thought of was, this is a total freaking setup, man. There's no way that these people would just break in the Capitol like this, and obviously we know. And see if you can get in touch with William, because he dropped out for some reason. And all he's got to do is click the link to come back in. So hopefully we'll get William back, because I know William's been through the ringer, and I kind of saved him for last because he's got a good story. But while we're waiting, well, we'll give him a couple minutes, but let's go ahead back to Man of Valor, since you were in the Capitol, and let's talk. Tell us a little bit about what you went through during this time. So you're out, and then what happens next?
Yeah, man, we go back to Texas on an airplane, me and my girlfriend, and we go through COVID and get over that. And the relationship starts falling apart, not because of January 6th. I just realized this is probably not the right fit for various reasons. Nice girl, but so I start, I'm praying about the whole thing. Like, Lord, what do I do here? And I start preparing myself. I end up packing up and moving back to North Carolina. And so this is mid-March now. And there's been no troubles, been nothing going on.
Get back on.
And so I make my way back to North Carolina and get home, and about a week and a half goes by or so, and I get a text message from our pastor out in Texas where she lives. And they said the FBI and SWAT basically showed up at her house at 4 or 5 in the morning or whatever, middle of the night. And they just arrested her, and they're presumably looking for you too there. Well, later on, we realized they'd been surveilling us. They got photos of us. I was outside in the line at the DMV when I got my Texas license, a month prior in February. And so they're trying to figure out where the heck I am. And they finally realize, okay, he's moved back, and they get in touch with Enterprise Rent-A-Car and this, that, and the other. So I'm back in Charlotte, and I realize when I got that text message, all hell's probably about to break loose. So I start to try to Google and figure out, well, I got to find some person that could be a lawyer. I mean, I don't have the money to hire some 10,000, 20,000, let alone 50 or 100 or whatever. And I don't know anybody in DC. And I find this guy, and he says he's got a partner, and they'll both help me pro bono, no charge. And just to go cooperate, turn myself in, and I'll talk to a public defender, and I'll have a case in DC. And it just sounded very run of the mill, business as usual, like no big deal, turn yourself in. And I'm naively thinking, oh, I'll just show up and you'll have a case. You go to court and whatever. Well, I knew I didn't do a damn thing wrong, so I was not really worried about anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so I turned myself in 8:30 in the morning on April 12th here in the Charlotte area downtown to an agent. And I don't know if there was a marshal. There's two guys. And so we walk in the building, and next thing I know, we're upstairs and we're in some back room, and there's this Marine I'm talking to, and he's a U.S. Marshal, and he's cool as can be, and we're connected. And sincerely, we really were. And so he starts checking me for weapons, this, that, and the other, even though I'd already walked through the metal detector. And next thing you know, long story short, I'm going into a hearing. Federal public defender meets me in this little small room, and then they put me back in the tank with all these other 10 inmates, federal inmates. I go before the judge. Bond is denied. I get put in the paddy wagon. I stay in Charlotte for 4 days, come back over Thursday, get denied bond again. And the federal public defender didn't even meet me in the room this time. I just ended up sitting in the courtroom, and he never came in there and talked to me. So he whispers in my ear, you need to make a choice whether you want to try your hand at bonding out here or transfer to DC. You got a better odds up in DC. Well, I don't want to go hours and hours away from my home area.
Oh, would you have better?
But I said, I don't know, whatever. My head's spinning at this point. I've been staying in Charlotte for the week. I'm lost. Like, I don't know what is even going on. And I've never had trouble. I've never had any other than like tickets before and quick jail. I've never had any kind of domestics or assaults or crime or serve time or nothing like this. And so that turns into about 2 weeks in Charlotte because I agreed to be transferred to DC, and he's like, okay, transfer to DC. And so I never did make it to DC, but I stayed in Charlotte, like I said, a couple weeks on 23-hour lockdown where they'd say you have an hour a day. You can pick between a shower, telephone, or walk around the little basketball court. And I didn't really have a whole lot to say or make phone calls, honestly. I didn't know who to call, just nothing. So and you couldn't really ever use the phones. I mean, these idiots were just on there just jacking their jaws, just no point, just total degenerate misfits, sadly. But so occasionally I'd do the shower, and usually I'd just walk around the outside just to move my legs because I started kind of falling apart. Well, then I get swabbed in the nose. I get taken downstairs one morning at 5 a.m., grab your mat, grab your things, not that you really have anything. Right. You get put back in the shackles, wrists, waist, ankles. You get put in a van, 15 other guys, body to body with a military contractor. He drives you up the highway. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going to D.C. That's what the judge said. Right. Wow. End up in Raleigh on a tarmac on the backside, and 20, 30, 40 different sizes of van, everything you can imagine, vans, buses, everything, bringing from different counties in North Carolina, Virginia with other federal inmates. We get on a plane that says DOJ on the side. You stand on the tarmac. They line you up. They pull your pockets out, make sure you got no dangerous items like earplugs, for the sound or, something dangerous like that. Right. And then they fly you. You're freezing, no food, no water. You're shackled again. I did this multiple times, and we ended up in Oklahoma City, not DC. And I'm like, what is going on? And they don't, of course, marshals for security, OPSEC, they can't tell you, where you're going. Mm-hmm. And so the other inmates identified the airports. You land in Atlanta. Oh, that's Atlanta, Georgia. And they were right. And then you pick up, drop off, and then you head on to Oklahoma City. I was there for another month and a half or a month. And that's when it started to get bad. The echoes, the guys beating the wheels off each other, guys assaulting, gang rivalries, just all kinds of stuff. I never had any trouble the whole time this whole summer for me personally, but I saw all kinds of other stuff going on. But the trouble I was having, I was just falling apart psychologically, mentally, spiritually, physically. I can imagine, yeah. It's just brutal. I don't know how. God did a miracle and kept all of us boys on here alive because we're all sitting here talking to each other. So I believe God's good. I believe Jesus is real. He saved my life. Wow, man. Y'all, I didn't feel like he was going to. Getting constant cold chills through each one of these stories, man.
That's
That's
so
a story
wild.
there,
So,
man. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Golly.
Yeah,
I
I
was
didn't-
begging them to take my life. I didn't think I was going to make it, and I thought certainly they're going to kill us. So just God kill me. And I was saying words you're not supposed to say, but
yeah, I understand.
he didn't do it. And so I endured Oklahoma City. It got real bad there. And then finally, after a month or so, like I said, they flew us again and did the whole thing again. And we landed in PA. And so now I'm just zigzagging across the country, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you're with all these dangerous murderers and drug traffickers and gun charges and all kinds of stuff, man. Assaults and molesters. And so we ended up driving in a bus for about 5 hours from PA down to Virginia. And I went to Northern Neck Regional Jail. I don't know if anybody went to that one, or Oklahoma City, Grady, but so Charlotte, Grady, Oklahoma City, and Northern Neck in Virginia, and spent another month or so there. So the whole summer, essentially, I'm in these pods, and I started to get isolated a lot. I got tortured. They would clang noises, keep us up. They'd wake us up with light. They would make cold food or not get to eat at all.
How many of the J6ers were you with? Were you being moved with other J6ers?
Well, I realized that on that bus from PA to Virginia, that third facility I arrived at, they were all talking about Hillary Clinton and global politics and things. I started to listen. I didn't say a word, and I didn't know even really how to talk. I was starting to come undone.
I got
really
you.
bad with PTSD. I never had PTSD overseas. I had it through this really bad. But I realized they were J6ers, and ended up being about 4 or 5 of us. I think it was 4 of us.
Wow. Okay.
And that was really the most. I'd seen one in Oklahoma, some young kid, and then this 4 of these guys, and we ended up becoming buddies and eating together and trying to have some sense of normalcy when we weren't being isolated.
Yeah.
So that third facility was nasty, man. It got crazy there, but yeah, that's where I got released from.
Wow. What a freaking story, man. Okay. Wow. All right, we're going to touch back on this too. So, William, we dropped you, and now we have you again. Can give me a check on your mic.
I'm here.
All right. So, William, we're going to let you tell your story, and you can go ahead since we've started with Man of Valor and kind of got his. You give us your story, and then just kind of where you were at with it. Okay.
All right. I first arrived on the 4th. I'd seen all the different postings up of going up there, and I also seen the other one, the hats backwards posting. When I seen that one, I knew immediately I was going to go up to DC to see it. You know what I mean? But I arrived on the 4th. I went down BLM Plaza Road, not knowing where I was at, and ended up in front of the White House, and BLM and Antifa had full control of it. DC police standing around doing absolutely nothing when they came at me with weapons. So I actually was able to get out of there because when I pulled an extended baton, the police stepped in finally. Okay, so I got out of there. On the 5th, I went down to the park, and when they start talking about things up in the tree, that's facts. On the 5th, when we were in the park, and Antifa and BLM were walking down the road towards the park where they were speaking, I'm the guy that was in leathers, the 3% with the welding cap on. That's me. So I was standing out there, and so was the Tennessee Viking. He was standing directly next to me, and we were wondering, is there anybody else going to come and help us? But on the 6th, when I finally got up there, I got up to the park. I started talking with a lot of the Proud Boys that were out there because I'd been in a few riots around the United States before all of this broke off. I'd been against Antifa since 1999 in WTO in Seattle, because they did a lot of damage out there, and it got misplaced. So anyway, on the 6th, I was talking to everybody, and then movement started happening. And when the Proud Boys started moving is when I started moving. So I joined in with them because I didn't know whether we were facing down Antifa, were they coming up on the side? You know what I mean? You didn't know anything about how they were going to react out there in DC, especially. So by the time I got up there, they'd already pushed through. And we were standing down by the rotunda where they had the firing line up above the scaffold. And they started shooting off all the different, the jumping jacks were flying through the air, where when they hit, they'd go in different directions, right? Those were already being dispensed from the cannon up top. And then By the time we got up underneath the scaffold, I was up on the scaffold trying to videotape the front of it because I'm a reporter, and I got hit 48 times with rubber and still stayed up on the scaffold. But when the man fell out at the front line, I jumped off to help attend to him. Then by the time I got back up, everybody had already pushed all the way through the line. They were upstairs. When I walked up the stairs, here's what got me. There had to been anywhere from 30 to about 80 DC police officers in full riot gear, shields. And there was even a video that went out that a guy said, "Why are you letting him break into the Capitol?" He said that on video. Well, the thing that got me at the first part of anybody breaking any glass, because I seen a lot of that, but I was also watching the guy up on the window washing unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that looked exactly like Garth Brooks. If you guys ever seen the pictures of that, he is a spitting image of Garth Brooks. But yeah, after everything, I went inside, and my first going inside of the Capitol, Ray Epps tried slinging me into a police officer because Ray Epps was just pushing people, trying to get him to push past the police.
Wow.
So that was my extent of being inside the Capitol. I had went around the building and seen the shaman out there preaching everything he said, and I already knew, hey, the shaman's pretty much a psyops, dude. He is not who he says he is. He was in the Phoenix riots out there. We've already got everything on that. The shaman is not who he says he is.
Wow.
So, and I told Bobby that when we left.
Okay.
Because I had to take Bobby back to his car.
All right. So yeah, you were shoved around by Ray Epps. That's pretty wild, man. So that's two people here that was actually around Ray Epps. Two people that was in the Capitol. So we've talked a little bit about what happened after with Man of Valor. So we're going to pick up with you. I know your story. Just try to keep it. Just tell us a little bit about what mainly happened with you. That just for the lack of time, because we could spend 3 hours talking about your story. But
right,
you get what I'm saying.
My story, yeah. They know me from all the different actions I did around Chattanooga, Atlanta.
We're going to focus on what happened to you because you've had some. Okay, go ahead.
So the biggest thing that happened to me was when the police came and arrested me. They transferred me from Daresville, Georgia, same day that Donald J. Trump turned himself in Fulton County. Was the same day I turned myself in. And when I turned myself in, they took me to Chattanooga, Tennessee, the Silverdale jail, Hamilton County. And upon going into the jail, they have a big roundabout right there where you sit. About 6 hours later, you go in the sleeping quarter. The sleeping quarter has everybody in there until the next day. So if someone gets in late, they're probably going to sleep right underneath the toilet where they pee. And that's no joke. That's
Silverdale's
in Hamilton
a rough
County
jail.
in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I got dressed out, he said, "We got special ways of dealing with you, people like you, born to ride for 45, throw them in Delta One." Everybody there said Delta One was a kill tank. If you're white, you better not go in there, because come to find out, it was the BGDs and Bloods that were going up for life. I wasn't even supposed to be in that part of jail because it's not where they hold the federal holds.
Okay. Got you.
So yeah, mainly the biggest thing that happened to me was when they took my child and used my child as a pawn to get me to sign my plea agreement. And they didn't have to take my child to get me to sign. That was the weakest thing that the state of Georgia could have ever participated in, especially Catoosa County Sheriff's Department and the school board. of Catoosa County engaging in the behavior and enacting federal kidnapping as well as human trafficking. And and you guys will see the end result in this, because my daughter right now is in a mental hospital dealing with everything from the Washington State transgender BLM movement up here. She doesn't like him, and she's let him know.
Right.
And that's why she's sitting in there.
And I should just add that you moved from Tennessee and you were up in Washington State now, correct?
Yeah, I was living there when I started this. I was out in Red Bank, Tennessee, and then I moved into Georgia because me and my ex. So my ex is the biggest part of the scam. She was engaging with an ATF agent. They put a 50 cal in my home and a 40 cal, and I was looking at 21 years in federal prison for guns.
Yeah,
that
there.
weren't
I
even
believe.
mine.
Yeah, your story, and I don't mean to skip over it. I don't. It's an amazing story, but there was a lot of coercion on the ATF's part and the federal investigators' part to try to ring you up through all this. So it's a wild story. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
yes,
I had a lot of entities coming at me. I guarantee you any type of 3-letter agency came at me.
yeah, right.
I remember when I could sit on the front porch and tell you exactly which FBI car was driving by, because living in Catoosa County, if it said Knox County, if it said Fulton County or Hamilton County, then 99% of the time it was FBI.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Tony, what happened to you after? What did anything crazy happen to you?
Well, it didn't. I don't know what timeline this happened to these guys, but first out, I didn't go through near what you guys went through. I thought I did, but hearing your stories, I didn't. But it was, it wasn't anything that I enjoyed. But mine happened about 3 years after the fact.
3 years,
Yeah.
okay.
So anyway, I had taken a trip to Guatemala, went down there, went through the Mayan ruins and stuff. And when I got to Atlanta, I like to get, like I was flying out early that morning, I always like to get to the airport a little that night before, and I'll just spend the night there so I get my flight. And I noticed whenever I got there, I tried to scan my ticket at the kiosk, and it wouldn't let me in. So I had to wait till the next morning. So when I done that, I had to. The ladies told me they're flagging it for something. So and they said, "Oh, it's nothing. It's what a lot of people usually have to go through this." But anyway, so they took me over and they, the guys that was running, and they didn't really know either. I got flagged when I was coming up, and they just done this.
So it's 3 years. You don't even know,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know.
You're sitting
it
here
was
like,
for-
why am I getting flagged?
yeah, and
okay.
and the people who was doing it, the TSF down there, or TSA, whatever they are, they didn't need it. They're just, okay, this guy here, we got to search him. So they done the little extra search on me and stuff, and I get on the plane, I fly down there, and whenever I'm getting ready to come back, and there's a few other things that we can get into later while I'm down there. But anyway, come back to the airport in Guatemala City, and as I'm getting ready to board this plane, all the boarding stops, and I had stopped at one of those little duty tax places, and I bought some Cuban cigars, and I'm thinking,
You're thinking
I'm
it's a
thinking
cigar.
it's a cigars or
Gotcha.
something like that. But anyway, so while we're sitting there waiting to board, people are boarding. Well, they stop the boarding, and I'm actually standing out in the little hallway, and they roll up with this big old machine, and I didn't know. I thought it was going to do something, somebody's whatever. But anyway, they start reboarding again, and whenever I'm standing in line, finally someone comes over to me and asks who I am, and they say, "Come with us." So I walk over to this machine, and they start. I had a jacket on. They took my jacket off, and they started scanning my hand. They put some kind of stuff on my hands, whatever, and then they scanned my hands with this, whatever the machine was. And then they had rolled out like a curtain thing, like you might see in a hospital. Well, I had to go behind that curtain in this airport and undress so they could search me. Like I was down to my underwear in an airport at a line fixing to board an airplane. But the curtain came down the ground, nobody could see what was going on. But so they stand. I hope that this whole process holds up that flight for like 2 hours. So at this point, I'm thinking there is thoughts of that. I'm thinking this might be what that is, but I'm not like, I'm not sure about it. But I just couldn't, because they actually done another lady as well, and I don't know if they done it just to make it look like, you know, it was a random thing. But when I get on the plane, they actually is now knowing there was an agent, one of them air marshals or whatever they call them, that sits down beside me, and they leave the seat open. They put me on the aisle, which was not the seat that I got on my ticket. They told me to sit here, and they put a steward, whatever, it was a guy, to sit there. And this guy never took his eyes off me on that whole flight from Guatemala City back to Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah, he sat there the whole time watching me. So when I get back to Atlanta, they tell me to wait to get off the airplane last. So I'm sitting there.
And you still don't have a clue.
I'm not for sure, but
Yeah.
there's an inkling, but nothing's said at this point. And so I get off the airplane. I've got my, and I just had a backpack with my stuff in it, and I have my passport in my pocket. So when I get off and I start walking up that little alley thing, as soon as I get off that, step into the airport, there's 2 guys there. There's one of them, and I want to say this: these guys absolutely treated me with respect. They really did, and I'll explain why. They got off, and the one guy, he just walked up to me and took the passport out of my pocket. He said, "Come with me." So I wasn't gonna argue with him, but anyway, as I'm going down, we get on these escalators. We're going down to the bottom of the thing. And I was like, "What the elf is going on? Like, what is going?" And he looked at me. He said, "I don't know. You tell me what's going on."
Right.
I was like, "I don't have a clue." I said, "Y'all have been harassing me ever since I left." And I said, "Look, I appreciate what you guys do to keep us safe. I really do. But I said, I don't know what I've done." And he asked me, he said, and there's actually another one. I think it was a marshal and some other kind of like a DEA agent or some customs agent or whatever, because I could tell they didn't work for the same department where they're talking to each other. But anyway, we get to the bottom escalator. He said, "Have you been on a vacation lately?" I said, "Well, I just got off an airplane from Guatemala." And he said, "Have you been to Europe?" And I said, "No, I ain't been to Europe." He said, "Well, have you ever been to D.C.?" And when he said that, I was like, I said, that's what this is about?" And he said, "Have you been?" I said, "Yes." And so they took me back in under like I didn't even know they had these rooms in the airport there in Atlanta, but they took me back in the bottom, took me in this interrogation room and sat there and questioned me for, I don't know, I had to break it down detail by detail for them. And they're the ones, whenever I told them, I said, they deleted my phone. And they said, "Yeah, we know." But they were conversing with each other and talking about, he's like, I got the feeling that he was tired of dealing, and he was starting to see that it was not true what had taken place up there.
Sure.
And so they sat there, they questioned me, and then they take me back out into the terminal thing there, and they set me down. They go through all my bags again. They don't find anything. But this time, they had called another person to come over, and at this point, I feel like it was a U.S. district attorney. And they're sitting there, and I told them the truth. They was like, they said, I told them the whole story. And the last thing they asked me, they looked at me. Them 3 were talking. They looked over. They said, "Mr. Spurgeon, did you enter the Capitol?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "How long was you in there?" I said, "Probably 10 minutes. And they turned back around, and the one guy that had been questioning, he told me, he said, "Get out of here." And the last guy that I think was a district attorney, he came up to me and he said, "They really asked you to go in?" I said, "I swear to you, whenever I was standing there and they was breaking everything up, they told me to go in, not just but other people, you go this way." So I stepped through that window, stepped into the Capitol, and exited the other end.
Man.
And so whenever I get back to home, 2 weeks later, I have the FBI out of Chattanooga.
Oh,
And it's a
wow.
lady. Yep.
Okay.
She comes to my office and leaves a card. Well, I call her up. Well, I have to tell her the exact same thing. And she told me, she said, "Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not me." She said, "It's going to depend on what D.C. does." She said, "They're the ones doing this." And so I sort of got the feeling from her
3 years later.
3 years later that she was not on board with it as well. And she said, "But you are going to be on that domestic terror list. So from that time until like a month or so after Trump had got elected, she finally called, or maybe 2 months, she finally called me one day and said, "We finally got you off the list."
Wow.
Yeah. But I had a son that actually flew out and went to Spain during this time, and when he flew back into Atlanta, they harassed him, took him off the plane in Atlanta, and took him back there and questioned him about where he had been and everything. He didn't know anything going on.
My
but
God.
because he was my son,
Right. They got everything.
Yeah, they
family.
harassing. Yeah, they're harassing everyone. But I mean, it wasn't to the extent of what man.
No, but that still is crazy. 3 years later.
I mean, you have to
so,
live.
I mean,
Like you can't go get on an airplane. I couldn't rent a car.
Yeah.
Like if I go to rent a car, they're wanting to know everything.
Right.
Yeah,
So they've got you. You're definitely on the list.
You're on the list, and it is it affects your life. It really does.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
All right. So David, we'll go to you next, and then we'll hit Dan, and then we'll kind of start to wrap up. So, what happened? What was your aftermath?
Mine was more psychological and emotional than anything else. I had a friend of mine tell me about a week after I got back. He said, "You know you're on a watch list, right?" For what? You know, there's no way. I didn't do nothing. And talked to my wife. I told her, "Well, I guess I'm on a watch list." She said, "Oh, no. So she did a background check on herself, and it red flagged me as suspected militia member,
so you know
domestic terrorist, this, that, and the other.
Gotcha.
Other than that, nobody's ever talked to me question. You know, they had the geo tracking, and with our time and her going back across the mall to use the bathroom, this, that. Like I said, when I got back to the Capitol, I heard about Ashley getting shot. I was out of there.
Yeah.
Right then, I was like, well, I'm not going to prison. I didn't come up here to go to prison.
Exactly. Wow.
And, so we left, and other than that, it lit a fire under my butt, as you know, which we've been in contact for a few years now.
I think, you know.
And it's really got me pushed forward to get involved the way that I have.
Yeah. Okay. That's wonderful. Like I said, like Brad had said, you know, this is higher than us. This is providential that we're all here, and that all of us, America, you know, we're in providential times right now. So, all right. So Dan, you want to go with us and just tell us what's happened since then? Were you affected in different ways, sir?
No, I really got off lucky. I mean, I think I got out of there before the stuff happened. They wouldn't have been able to pin too much on me, but you know, I feel real sorry for you guys, man of valor. I mean, how long was he in jail?
Yeah. What was your total, Brad?
3 months in the summer of 2021.
Wow, an entire 3 months of your life
man. I'm sorry
gone. Now,
Brad, some of those guys were in for 2 years.
Yes, almost 3 on some of them.
1 for 4 years, yeah.
Yeah. So, did you get an official pardon? Have you gotten anything kind of like Tony is, where it's like, hey, you got a phone call and everything's good now, or do you still worry about what any kind of ramifications?
You talking to
Brad?
Which one of us?
Brad, I'm sorry.
Oh, to me?
Yes.
Yeah, I never went to trial. I had Boasberg. By the way, I had the guy who's been battling Trump all damn year, Boasberg.
Ah, okay.
And he was my judge. And I never went to trial. He would act like I didn't want to go to trial. And I kept saying, no, I'm asking you for a trial. Like, let's get this thing over.
Right.
And I knew I would lose at trial. My attorneys, I went through tons of attorneys, mainly federal defenders who had conflicts of interest. So it wasn't like I was switching. And so that added a lot of time. And it worked out. I think God had a plan in all of it, like you said, divinely. But I ended up being free, so to speak, for the last 3 years. I was out, but I had severe travel restrictions, domestic terror watch list, like these guys are telling you. Exactly the way they're saying it is how it works. I had an airport encounter the same way. I flew once to St. Louis to see my attorney that first summer, and I had the whole delay, and they come and search you, and they walk with you, and then they do it again at the gate. So that was really stressful. That was with the ankle monitor on. I did 90 days in the ankle monitor, trapped in a basement, home imprisonment. God. They said you can't walk outside in the grass. You can't open the door. If you're not going to see your attorney, then you can't. And so
that's insane.
Did that, and then the whole flight list. I said I had to fill out forms to travel for work for 3 years, just to get permission to cross into certain counties in central North Carolina toward Charlotte or back toward Durham or Raleigh or whatever, and west, east. And then
for nothing.
No gun rights.
Are they
Couldn't carry it. I'm a
restored?
huge gun. I teach my friends how to shoot and stuff. What?
Are your gun rights restored?
They sure are. I got them all back.
All
I got
right,
kinds of them.
hey, I'm gonna clap on that. They better be. If not,
So you
I've
were
got
never
5
con-
attorneys I'm gonna call for you. So
You were never convicted of anything?
I don't think so.
I'll share a big bodacious one if y'all want to see it.
Yes, we want to see it. We are die for. Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
That's a beauty
There
right
you
there,
go.
man. Love it, love it. And so
Praise the Lord, man.
and
I
let's-
couldn't shoot him for 3-4 years, man.
now that you'll get me teary eyed. You start talking like that. So and you also, right? You wrote a book, right?
I did. Just finished it.
Okay, so
wrapping it
it's
up.
not out yet.
Yeah, it's just not in my hands from Amazon printing. It's called Valor, Uncommon Courage in a Pit. And
Yes.
it's just every detail I could think of what I went through and how to help other people when they go through cancer or lose a kid or house burns down or whatever thing. Because I believe adversity is the same for everybody in terms of it sucks and it's hard and it breaks you,
Yes.
and how to just find courage. You know, there's some God in there. There's a lot of patriotism in there. There's stories like from the Patriot film with Mel Gibson and how the character Benjamin Martin he played, stuff like that. So I guess the easiest way, because the website's not quite ready this week, so it would be to just somebody reach out to me, find me on Facebook or email me, you know.
Well, man, I would absolutely I'm going to get a copy. We're going to keep in touch. You let me know because I want to bring you back on the show and feature your book, and we want to talk about it and we want to get it out there to the masses. So
Man,
that
means
would
the
be
world.
amazing. Absolutely. And I'm
Means the
telling you,
world.
that's just constant cold chills in this room. You guys are amazing, really. I mean, all right. So what I want to do is let me just collect my thoughts because I've got all your stories in my head and it's just amazing. I think about myself and because I wasn't able to go up there. The whole thing fell through, but I think about what would happen. I had to get red badge to go work at nuke plants and stuff, and I'm sitting here listening to each one of your stories, and I'm like, I would have probably like everything would. And we were planning on bringing guns, not because
Right.
I mean I'm
Yeah.
a bail bondsman.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
go anywhere without a
Yeah.
gun. So you just imagine if we'd had 10 people in a van and we all had guns at the hotel room and knowing more stories. And I have friends that didn't want to come on the show because they were traumatized.
Yeah.
They were found because of restaurants that they use their debit cards to eat and stuff like that. And would you know the government shut their cards off for upwards of 6 months to a year? They froze their bank accounts over this, guys.
Really?
Yes. And God bless them. I know
That's
she
where
didn't
it
want to be on the
started,
show,
is
but
work. I used my card to pay
Yeah.
for the motel room in Arlington.
yeah, every one of you guys, every one of you guys have been on a list, and God knows we're all on a list.
Yeah.
So here's what I like to do. I'm going to go through each one of you again because let's think. It's 2026. The pardons have been issued. We've had a year of Donald Trump back in the presidency. 40,000 hours that we still haven't gotten from the J6, the day. But we know that statute of limitations are coming up. This whole J6 committee was an absolute scam. Nancy Pelosi should be thrown in the pits of prison hell.
Yeah.
We know Ray Epps, the setup. We know this.
Yep.
Each one of you went to the Capitol to represent people like me who couldn't be there, to represent our nation as patriots, and you were treated this way. So just tell me, what do you think, guys? Where are we going? It's 2026. You got each one of you, and I'm going to start back with David, and we'll go back. Tell me what you see in the future. What do you think's going to happen? Where do you think we're at?
We got to get rid of the rhinos or we're not getting anywhere.
Amen.
We have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of people that should be held accountable. I doubt ever will be. But for the most part, we just need to move forward and bring in candidates in all branches, local, state, that have our backs. 'Cause
Absolutely.
we are absolutely misrepresented. And if we can't fix that, then what's the sense? I would do it all again, don't get me wrong. But I'm losing faith. I'm die hard gonna stick with what I do and try to make change, but you know, I don't know where we go from here.
Amen. I don't either. All right, Jim, Tony, what do you think?
Well, I tell you, when Trump first announced he was running for president, I thought this is a joke. It blew my mind that this country was coming because I'd never been involved.
You're talking about 2016,
Yeah,
right?
2016.
Okay, gotcha.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I'd always said what was wrong with this country was they took the common man out of politics. And when I seen him run and them attack him, I was like, anybody should have the right to run. Anybody. That could be any of us. That's when I got behind him. And then the things he started saying, I'm like, yeah, this is what, when he's calling people out. I remember when he called out Jeb Bush, that's when he had me right there when he called out Jeb. I was like, yeah, I like this guy. So what I'm seeing, like I feel like now since I feel like we defeated something when he beat Kamala or Biden and all of them in this last, I feel like we defeated something there. I still don't agree with everything that he does and all that, but I feel like we may even be further ahead since before Reagan, that we are in a position where we can now take this country in another direction.
Right.
And it's not going to go all our way. That I feel like I might be more hardcore MAGA than most, and I know that is probably not the direction this is all going to end up going. But I feel like now there's a possibility for people to get in office that are the common man.
Right.
They can and sort of change the language of all these bills, the direction of these laws that they're passing that are just taking, like, people can't see how small things are taking all of our rights.
Well, they want to restore the power to the people.
Exactly. If we can start getting, and I feel like we are going that way. I don't know where it's going, but I feel like with Trump doing the things that he's doing and expanding, making us look like, I feel like now I feel good about paying taxes.
Right.
You know? But
I feel good about not paying taxes maybe this year. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, you're going in, he's tacking these
Yes, I got you.
These you know where all the drugs are coming into this country, and he's doing something about it, and that's what we need. We need them. We need this country to start heading in that direction where we are not letting people run over our rights.
That's right.
And that's and I feel like that's what he's doing. I feel like he stood up for what that man. We talk about what we went through. Mm-hmm. That man went through a lot.
He did. He did. We have all went through a lot. You guys have went through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and none of us own daycares up in Minnesota, so we're not millionaires. All right, we've been. Sorry, I had to put that in there. But yeah, this country is in a reckoning. It's in a providential reckoning.
We got to change the narrative.
That's right.
This country's had this narrative going, and it's got a lot of people confused still that where the narrative is about where politics and who's right and who's wrong with all the LGBTQ stuff and the racial stuff.
Fifth generational warfare, brother. It's division.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's division. Exactly.
That's where they want to keep us divided down here constantly. So as long as we're fighting each other, they can rob us blind.
Right.
So. But you feel hopeful, right?
I do. I really do. I feel like, but as long as people stay involved, I feel like a lot more people, like Dave's talking about, people, he got involved. The more people that are involved and you're paying attention, when you cast that vote, you'll be thinking about what's the repercussions of it.
Amen to that.
Yeah, but I feel good about it. I feel like we're heading in a pretty good direction.
All right, I'm going to go to Dan next. Dan, you tell us what's the future hold for us, Dan?
Well, I'm real optimistic. We're still a great country, and we got people like you all doing this thing. I think that there's going to be a movement for term limits in the states, making a constitutional amendment.
It's possible.
Ron DeSantis is on that, and if anyone can get anything done, it's that guy. And
he's making waves in Florida right now, man.
Yeah, and I'm real optimistic about this. You know Harmeet Dillon?
Yes. He's been in Georgia, heavily involved in our election system, our election fraud, by the way, which caused this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these people will stop doing this crazy stuff when they get held accountable. She might actually do it.
We hope.
So I'm optimistic.
I want to see what we did in Venezuela last week happen at the Gold Dome in my state, because I believe that we've been taken over by traitors in Fulton County and elsewhere. So I'd like to see some of these people be held accountable for their actions. But absolutely. All right. And so, William, I'm going to go to you next. You tell me, where are we at? You're up in Washington, probably in like ground zero of the crazy idiocracy.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Will? Do we have a chance or what?
So I look at one thing, and that's due process of law, because the way law's gone in this country, it's like, take, for example, what happened in Washington State. A highway patrol officer, and life ended as a direct result of an illegal that should have never been here.
Wow.
But yet he's still here, and they let him off under sanctuary state cause, which meant he was free to do that. That ain't right. So under due process of law, I want to see constitutional court, not magistrate court. Sure. Magistrate court is nothing more than I can change the law to suit myself. Right. I've dealt with it with Division of Family and Children's Services.
We have a big movement for putting the grand juries back into the people's hands too. I want you to know that's on a lot of radars right now. So, but absolutely, you feel hopeful for the future, Will?
I feel hopeful that somebody's going to step in that holds people accountable.
Good. I hope so. All right, man of valor, after everything you've been through in 2026, where do you see us headed?
I agree with these guys, man. I'm an optimist by nature. I think it's my faith. I try to give credit to him, and I find that it's not in good taste to be negative, Debbie Downer, doom and gloom, skies falling, and I don't think it actually affects any change. I think it's just you sit around murmuring. I've had to rebuke friends. You need to change your attitude. You're always coming at me with demanding that I speak for Trump. Why do you do this? Why do you do that, Brad? I don't speak for him. But I believe in being positive, and so I'm highly optimistic. I've studied the operation that's going on for about 6 years now, and I've cross-referenced and researched and prayed and talked to military buddies like I mentioned earlier, and everything's lining up perfectly. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what my brother just said about this guy starts to run and everybody starts attacking him, and they bring felonies against him. They raid Mar-a-Lago, and they do everything to try to kill him and shut him down, shooting at him, to tell you that, man, maybe this guy's actually on a mission. And I'll even go so far as to say I think God plays a role. I think God's using him.
Yes.
And that might sound crazy because he's such a unlikely character from New York, playboy, billionaire. Yep. You could say, oh, he's got so much dirt in his past, whatever. But the dirt that he has is like, not unlike any other guy, trying to get it on and get some, some hottie. And he's done that type of stuff. But as far as like children, as far as like corruption, as far as like other stuff, drug running stuff, the guy's clean. But I'm really hopeful, man. I believe it's key. It's vital that the midterms we don't blow it, because I also agree with my brothers that Congress is a joke. I mean, you once in a while hear Kennedy or Burchett or McMullen say something, patriotic, and they seem like they got backbones. But even MTG's let us down, I guess, and like so many other ones of us have let us down. And it's just they're all bought and paid for, whether it be AIPAC, Israel money, or not to open up that whole can, or whether it be
You're correct.
just lobbyists and corporations, NGOs, and big pharma and all that.
USAID, absolutely.
They don't want to be audited.
Yeah, and certainly on the far left, I mean, they're all just toast. I think they're morally bankrupt. I think they're demon possessed to some degrees. Some of them big time, more than others. But I'm really hopeful. I think we're going to see all hell break loose in a good way right now. I think we're obviously seeing a what's the word for it? A crescendo happening with Venezuela, Minnesota. All these things are getting wilder and wilder in the streets, and I'm for it, man. We've got to do what we did with the border. We've got to get rid of. As much as I love people from all over the planet, my buddy who here just went to Guatemala talking about that. Like, I've been in all these countries. I love people. I think people are awesome, but you damn sure don't get to walk over here and live illegally and rape and pillage and hurt our people and attack our girls while they're out jogging at college and steal from money and the fraud, the frauding going on. Yeah. But I think we're going to turn it around. I think we're going to see some really amazing days ahead. It's not going to be a cakewalk to get to them. And I'm learning in life, I don't know if you guys are, that things are not mutually exclusive. You can have two things be true at the same time. Here's the best example 100%. I'm thinking of right now is You can have all hell raging in Minneapolis, or the people out protesting that are morons. They have no idea that they're defending a dictator, Maduro, or whatever flavor of the week they want to protest. The Ukraine flag this week, Venezuela flag next week. And you can also have good things happening behind the scenes, because I know that our boys in uniform are getting backbones like never before. We're getting all the trans crap out. We've got a warrior alpha with Pete. I could just go on. And I know these people aren't perfect, man, but I think they truly have law and order and the Constitution and the Republic best interests and our best interests in mind, generally speaking, this new batch. And I think we just need to keep educating and raising up other people. We need to learn what our country's about ourselves, me, you, us guys, and then teach it and explain it to others.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. You guys are uplifting me. I'm swallowing my black pill. You know, I go through phases. I'm sorry. I am a doom and gloomer a little bit. I agree with every single one of you guys. And it's hard to get. We're not even talking politics. We're talking J6. We're talking about your lives. But when you get into politics, it goes to doom and gloom, because just like you said, we got weak, feckless representatives that are self-serving, corporatizing this nation, and we're losing our Constitution, our sense of humanity. And so we're here, and we're the stopgap between that. And what you guys were a part of in January the 6th was a part of that.
Yep.
And God is a huge part of that, because it wasn't for God showing me how stupid I was, I wouldn't even be here with you. So, man, I totally agree. But
yeah, I feel like this whole thing, talking about the whole thing with everybody, like we're in this little group together, it goes back to the like the Revolutionary War. I don't know if you guys ever heard the story about the Over Mountain Men from up around Johnson City, Tennessee, during the Revolutionary War.
I have. Do tell.
Yeah,
Do tell.
it's about the story of the British came, and they were going to all the people that was living on the other side of the mountains. The British said, if you don't stay out of this war, he said, I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna lay waste all your land, and I'm gonna kill all your leaders. All them people got together and marched him down and killed him. He said, I'll never come off that hill, and he didn't lie. He's still laying up there. And it makes me think, like with Trump and all the group here, that's what they have. He has opened the door for us to track these people down. And the thing is we got to do it. We got to hold people accountable.
Amen.
And we can't do it. These people that we put in office are the ones that does it. But us bonding behind them will help that.
Hey, that's what my Give, Send, Go's all about. I'm trying to get a bulldozer. I got a welding project to do. So, okay. All right, guys. So, wonderful, wonderful podcast. We're going to go through some of the comments now. There's a ton of comments here, so I won't be able to read them all, guys, because I'm not keeping these guys up, and we all got to work tomorrow.
Oh, Josh Pruitt down there.
Josh, I said Sean. It was Josh Pruitt. Josh Pruitt was on with me, and Josh, forgive me if you're still in here, and I forgot your name, but what an amazing dude, an amazing story. You know, he spent like 3 years in prison, so, and I keep track of him, man. He's out there. He's got him a beautiful lady, and there. Hopefully, I pray for him every day. You know, that he's out there doing great work. Carol Streeter, Lisa, good to see you guys. Happiness Jamie, good to see you guys. Jennifer White, Michael Proctor, and you know, he says all of this going on in Minnesota right now is a direct result from the stolen election in J6. If you think about that, everything goes back to that point in time. You know, we all know. Well, I mean, there's beyond a shadow of a doubt, the election was fraudulent. Everything that we've done in the Georgia SEB in the last month alone, 300, how many you went? Hundreds of thousands of ballots. We know now. You were not there in vain. You understand that? Nobody was there in vain. Right. This was a fraudulent election. We're never going to be able to go back and fix it. But guess what? We know now. So when we pray that with Venezuela and what we know about Smartmatic and Maduro, that this is going to lead us into this chapter, we can get rid of this dominion. So Calvin's Corner.
Whitfield?
Go ahead,
How's
sir.
Whitfield County doing out there?
They're doing great. They've got a wonderful GOP leader he is a fighter, and he has given some of our local reps a run for their money, and it's amazing to watch McCray. He is He's great. They got Lisa Adams over there. They got Stacey Dorn. They got all Eddie. What's Eddie's last name? But anyway, they got a bunch of good people over there and good
Rhonda.
people. Yep. So the goods. Let's see. Aaron Spears, good to see you. Olivia Angel, welcome to the show. I've been to a lot of Trump rallies. Didn't see violence from anybody except some getting rowdy and dancing. Sorry, Naha, it messed up your experience. I've been to a Trump rally. I was a volunteer for one, and there was so many freaking people there, and I have felt that energy. And obviously not what you guys are on, but whew. I mean, it's all flowing through us, man. This is what America is, the patriotism. So let's see here. Another 23, welcome. Hi, Roy Hammer. Glad I got you on Rumble because I'm back in Facebook jail again. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I spent a lot of time in jail over the years, and to be able to sit here with a whole group of patriots about J6 is a blessing in and of itself. So, Beth Dunn, good to have you with us tonight. Sharon Holland, I love you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Jonathan Swink representing.
That's the guy from Arkansas.
Okay. I'm sorry we couldn't get you on the show tonight. We have a full house, but we'd love to hear your story. And I plan to do this every January because this is a part of us, and we need to keep it alive. So. Terry Bailey, good to see you. Lee Hart, she said, I witnessed 2 charter buses escorted by police deliver 60 to 70 men dressed in Trump gear and backpacks directly to the back entrance of the Capitol. I found that very odd since traffic was blocked for 30-plus square blocks. This is around 30 to 40 before CP started shooting tear gas backside. What warranted a police escort?
The buses, yeah, I saw them.
There you go. And thank you for being there January 6th. You've been vindicated. So, happiness, Jamie. These testimonies are more confirmation this was a planned trap for good Americans just protecting our country. Yeah. I totally stand by that, absolutely. Michael Proctor, good to have you tonight. It takes a bunch of demented people to set fellow Americans up like that. Amen, it does. Just think of Nancy Pelosi and multiply that by like 5,000 people, and there you go. So, Debbie Weathersby, good to have you, Debbie. And let's see, another 23. CSPOA CEO Sheriff Max said he urged people not to go to the Capitol on J6. Somehow he knew it wasn't going well. Yeah, absolutely. We've had Sheriff Mack on the show, and what a great dude, man. He's wonderful. So, all right. Charles Stoker says, watching you Patriots. Absolutely. Thank you, Charles. Kathy Dixon, thank you. Good. Thank you. She's enjoying the content. And man, I can't tell you. My eyes are getting teary. It's getting cold chills. It's amazing. So let's see.
I want to thank all you guys that are commenting for praying for us and supporting us and
Yes.
carrying the whole 4 years.
Absolutely.
Man.
100%. Lee Hart says, another astonishing fact were the numerous groups represented by Tibet, California, China, Christian, gay pride, every state, multiple countries. Took my breath away to see hundreds of thousands of people so connected over the cause of patriotism and anti-fraud. And we'll say something. I'll say something about the left. Obviously, but I'm seeing now where some of these people are waking up out of their like idiocracy and focusing more on the issues, right? And that's what we really want. We want issues. It's not about this collectivism or this crazy idea that you just have to support something like, just because, right? People are starting through all this. They're waking up and realizing that, yes, we're overtaxed to death. Yes, the Constitution matters. Yes, freedom of speech matters. And the more numbers that get involved now, this slumber, this uniparty trance, the more proactive we're going to be. So thank you for that comment. Let's see. Let me go down here because I got a lot, y'all. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, and somebody had said about Dan, wow, 8,000 stop the steel billboards. That's cool, man. That you spent $8,000 on these billboards. That's
we
amazing.
Love election fraud billboards.
Yeah.
I showed
Was
you.
that him?
That stand. Yep.
That was you, dude. You're the
Yep.
one that did
Yeah.
that.
I don't think it did a bit of good.
No, because
It was awesome.
I've got pictures on my
Yeah.
phone, bro,
Yeah.
of those billboards. That is amazing.
Awesome.
Dude, oh man,
That
I
was
gotta
quick
give you
thinking,
mad
too.
props for that, man. That is great. That is absolutely great. So Let's see. Happiness Jamie says, none of our legislators really stood up for us. They still don't. Mike Johnson, John through Lindsey Graham. Good God of mercy. And all selfish globalists looking to control us. It all needs to be burned down. I'm not quite there to the burn down yet. My mouth wants to say it, but I've still got hope. And I've been refilled with more hope tonight. But I'm telling you, if we weren't so effective, if elections didn't matter, they wouldn't have went through all this freaking trouble. Okay, that's why we're trying to fix them. So there's still hope out there, and you're one of those people, Jamie. You're one of those people that keep marching forward. So, let's see.
Well, it was too big to rig in 24. We won it, so of course it worked.
Of course, it did work, and we're going to continue to chip away at Smartmatic, Dominion, all of these things, so we get that election power back in the people's hands. Lee Hart says, I'm still sick that none of these treasonous bastards have not been held accountable. Well, if you watched our last podcast, that was my black pill moment. I actually recorded a 20-minute video 2 days ago that the Lord didn't give me enough time to put out there. And after some discernment, it's fairly doom and gloom, but I feel that. But guess what? We're just starting a new year. We got a lot of things coming, so we're gonna see, right? Debbie Weathersby, so good to see you. Hardy Strongbear Taylor, thank you for being here. Let's see. Happiness Jamie, aren't all these people arrested? All J6 are still doing the same work. Do we feel safe? No, they're playing all of us on the left and the right. The bad guys play both sides of the same coin. Well, absolutely they do. So we've got to fight against it. Good to have you, Josh Wilson. Luis Borges, I think it is, or Borgs. Good to see you. Let's see. Lisa Lee Hart, good to see you. She says, what are your opinions of when or if these people will ever be held accountable? Well, look, I'm just going to say this. If we don't have, obviously we've just seen what we can do in Venezuela, right? So if I was a little rough about Tampon Tim. Look, I'm not saying we can't celebrate the fact that the man's not running for governor, but I don't want to see him retire to the Jelly Month Club. If we're not going to see some arrest, then why are you even telling me about all the treason? Why are you even telling me about why do I get these gaslighted articles about Barack Obama being directly responsible for Russia hoax if we're not going to have accountability? We've got to have accountability or this whole thing's going to fall apart. That's all I'm going to say.
Can I speak to that? Can I speak about
please.
The operation?
Absolutely.
I agree with you, but do we think for a second, do we believe for one moment that this guy's going to let his wife's Chester drawers be raided, shot at on a golf course, shot at in Butler, PA, go through everything he's gone through, go to court, be indicted, mug shots, and he's not going to get retribution if he's got the evidence and we can pull it off?
He's going
now, there's moving parts like the DOJ and Pam and slow walking things. Of course, I'm with everybody. I'm not trying to sound like rainbows and unicorns, but I'm here to tell you on my life, on God, that there is an operation ongoing. Some of it's already been cleaned up, and you're seeing AI videos of certain things. Some people have doubles. I'm telling you for a fact, and it's done this way on purpose to wake up the rest of them. The military estimates, sadly, that 5% to 6% of the nation's population is never going to wake up. They're lost beyond all hope. Sadly, it just sucks. These people out in the streets probably. They're just lost. But for the normies and the rest, the people in the middle, the JFK Democrat, the centrist, some of even on the right, have to get awakened to all of it by seeing all these optics happen. But I believe absolutely arrests are coming. I believe it'll be this year. I believe that the pieces of the puzzle are together. I think there's enough people that are fed up. I think every American who's got a little bit of red blood in them, like all of us patriots, are so pissed, and the president's very well aware of that. They're very well aware of our J6 situation. I don't know if you guys have signed up with that are on the speaker, my fellow speakers on here. Like, if y'all are signed up with Mark McCloskey and Peter Tickton, who's one of Trump's lawyers. I've done video meetings with them a couple times this fall, and they're trying to go after reparations for us. It's called a Federal Tort Claim Act procedure, and it's with the DOJ to get us paid at various levels for whatever we all went through. I think there's going to be some scale they're figuring out. But we had to answer numerous questions to Attorney McCloskey. Y'all know who he was? You remember he was in his yard in St. Louis in 2020 with his AR-15, and they arrested him and his wife and all that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
He got through all that, and he's clear now. But he's working with us. I think he probably represented a lot of J6ers through their cases, but now he's going after this.
You see that
should pan out at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm with y'all. The narrative has to be fixed. I think it's on us to not let up. Don't let off the gas this whole year. Share in any possible way you can about the narrative.
Gotcha.
And I find that people are waking up to our side more than they're waking up to the other side. There's
Amen.
nothing to wake up to on the other side. They're out of it. They call themselves woke. They reject any form of law and order, patriotism, family, Jesus, freedom of speech, weapons. And so they're just lawless. And so people are coming to our side. I think we have reason for a lot of hope.
All right. I needed to hear that. And that I agree with you, man. I do. I agree with you. So
I promise.
yes, that's what I want to hear.
I feel like this whole thing with Maduro was more like a rescue mission instead of an arrest. I feel like he's probably, this is just me, I'm hoping that he worked out a deal that they went down there and took him out because he's fixing to start telling a lot of things up here.
Well, if you follow the Monroe Doctrine, right, this is the path I'm on. So my little stages here.
Yep.
But if you follow the Monroe Doctrine and you start to kind of unravel the fact that we have a global force that wants to turn us into a one world government slave class, but we also have superpowers, right? And if we can follow this Monroe Doctrine, I believe, and we can get it to where we have like China is a superpower, Russia is a superpower, America's a superpower, and we are able to govern our hemispheres in a way that we maintain that superpower, but we don't go at it as a global scale. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll defeat the deep state. And I'm hoping that this is the first domino to fall.
I do too.
And I hadn't got to go in that yet, but we've been talking a lot about that. So that gives me hope.
His past few conversations.
Yes. So if you guys want there to study the Monroe Doctrine and kind of that'll give you some more hope as to what's going on in South America and things that should have happened a long time ago. So. All right.
It is the Monroe Doctrine. It's keeping Iran and China and Russia at bay. And why would we not want to get them out of there? Because that country Venezuela is actually really close to us in terms of the Atlantic. And so it's that. And also look into Sidney Powell and everything she was saying. She's an attorney.
Yes.
She was talking. She was talking for 4 years, mainly in 2020 and 2021 about the Dominion, Venezuela, Smartmatic, election hacking, and they overthrew the 2020 election. So I believe he is singing. I believe Maduro is telling everything he knows. I don't care what kind of deal they cut him, as long as he can't go back there and terrorize his people. But he's a wealth of knowledge, and that's why we picked him up primarily.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, Sidney Powell, another vindication.
Yes.
So wow. Kim's Coffee Talk is good to see you, Kim. Kim's got an awesome morning show, Kim's Coffee Talk, and y'all need to be checking that out. So, Jennifer White said, it's really effed up that our government is so corrupt they treat Americans like this while allowing true criminals flooded by our country, and we're treated like royalty. Our politicians are the scum of the earth. I mean, and I think what we're talking about tonight is a lot of hope, and it's a part of this waking up, right? We're still going through it. It's painful for some of us to watch because we've already been way past that curtain, but others are catching up. I believe that. Tyler Lee, good to see you tonight. Let's see. Let me just go on down because we're running out of time here. And Donna Abbey, yes, 3 of us ladies drove up. My name was on everything. I never got contacted. The other girl who went with us was visited by FBI 2 weeks after she told them to F off. So, and yes, I got to speak to Donna earlier today in a message, and we thank you guys for being there as well. Let's see here. Aaron Spears, amazing American citizens. Yes. And she says, thank you for sharing your story. I agree. Let's see. Donna says, daycare owners are dirty, but so is gas stations and now the churches. Let's clean it up. It's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. So, we're the ones. Accountability is a must now, not later, from Sharon Holland. I agree. And let's go down here. Colton Moore for Congress, 14th, from Charles Stoker. And Donna says what everyone fails to mention is that the weather was about 30 freezing degrees January 6th. Many people needed to go in to warm up or bathrooms standing out in the cold. So, that's very true. Lois Finley, good to have you, Lois, from MAGA, Georgia. Yes, go Trump. Jay Runyon, good to have you tonight. And I think that, let's see, Jay says that's the truth. They attack only what's a threat. Send one top official to jail quickly, then go quiet, leave them wondering. Absolutely. And that's going to do it for this evening. Thank you, guys. Everybody's hanging out, having a good time. Lots of good comments there. We appreciate it. And we're just Okay, good. So we're just under 2 hours. So what I'd like to do is give everybody I want to give you guys the final word. Each one of you, whatever you want to say to the people out there. And again, we're going to start with you, Naha. What do you want to say to everybody?
Well, I just appreciate all the support that everybody's had behind us for all these years. And, the mainstream narrative is, we're scum of the earth.
And we've toppled it.
Deplorable.
I've just been thankful for the prayers and the support of everybody that I've met through these years. And I'm going to keep trucking.
All right.
And Mr. Brad, I know everybody here, this is our first time getting acquainted. And it was a pleasure. And I look forward to more conversations and staying in
Absolutely.
touch.
I can't wait, brother. Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Tony.
So it's my first podcast.
I'm glad it is. That's
Except
wonderful.
for the watch party.
This is the
after
people's
election.
podcast,
Exactly.
man.
But no, it's actually I enjoyed meeting every one of you guys. This has been an experience for me, and I feel like I might have made some friends here. So
Good. That's what it's all about,
yeah,
man.
yeah, it really is, and
Connecting.
I think we just all keep the path that we're going. Like I don't feel like I do a whole lot other than just keep talking about it. And,
You just keep
keeping-
talking and keep
yeah,
holding
just
that
keep
line,
talking
brother.
and putting listening to other people's ideas and stuff, and trying to, because there's a division there. But I feel like I can see some of it coming back together with the people I know that's in my life that they still don't, but they can see where it was headed. They may not like who's running the show right now, but I can see where we were headed and where we're at now.
Gotcha.
And that's I think I'll keep trucking along.
All right. Dan, what about you, brother?
Well, great to meet y'all. What a great group of people. I guess we'll all just keep trucking. We're the greatest country it's ever been, and God has blessed this country, and we better keep it going. There's nowhere else.
That's right.
That's it.
Amen to that. And Brad, we're going to give you the last word this evening because Will had to drop out. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, what an honor. I mean,
Oh,
I
he's
just
back.
share everything these guys. What's that?
Okay,
I
go
share
ahead.
everything these guys are saying. Exactly. Let's keep our heads up. Let's overcome all the trauma and all the stuff that maybe some of us still have to get through. I think there's probably a little bit of that still with me, but being jaded is not the answer. And I'm impressed on here because I've met a bunch of J6ers speaking this last year and going to gigs in North and South Carolina primarily. And I love them all, and I always will. I'll do anything for them because we were all in the same, we're bonded for life now as J6ers. But some of them are just so angry and jaded and just have such foul approaches and mindsets about a lot of stuff. And I'm not throwing shade or trying to judge them or cast them off, but I'm really impressed tonight because I just hear so much different on here, and that really surprised me, actually, quite frankly. And so that's really solid. I think it's key that we rise above everything and not let any of this make us a victim or have excuses ever. Like, oh, well, I'm forever ruined, or I'm this, or the world sees me as this. A man who walks in a place like a Sigma male, which is even higher than alpha male, by the way, doesn't let the other people in the room determine how he feels confidently about the way he sees himself and his country. And that's us on here tonight. And for the people that are just listening in, or really all of us, the rest of the nation, I think that we are America on this thing here tonight. Like, I don't think the actions of Lindsey Graham or the deep state or Adam Schiff or Mitch McConnell or whatever get to define or redefine or jade or ruin what the idea of American exceptionalism is, because you guys are nailing it with what you're saying. It is the greatest country ever. It is divine that we were founded. The bullets that hit the coat of George Washington, all the stories that we know to be true, keeping out all the propaganda about how, the founders were a bunch of whatever, misogynist, bigoted, Masons and all this stuff. That's just not simply what happened. It's not went on, or it's out of context at the least.
Absolutely.
But I think we fight for it. I think we run for things. I think we write books and we share the stories. We teach our kids and grandkids. I don't even have them yet, but you guys probably do, and I will one day. But we just continue fighting the good fight. And lastly, we don't let what's in them, the poison that's like the daycare jokes. I'd be a millionaire if we had a Somali Minnesota daycare or something. And it's tempting to want to say, F it, I don't want to participate. I'm just going to be a rebel and screw that. And I could do something like they did, but we're above that. Let's be above it, be bigger than them, and why would we let their ridiculousness bring us down? So let's just don't do it. Let's rise higher and make George Washington proud, make Trump proud, and raise up the next little presidents, in our communities and our states,
I love it.
Yep.
Thank you for that, man. And William, I know William dropped off. He's got an incredible story too, and we appreciate William being a part of the show as well. And I just want to say, folks, this has been an absolute blast, guys. It's made me feel a whole lot better. I'm telling you. And I just want to remind everybody there to pray for this nation, pray for each other, pray for our communities, pray for the idiocracy all around us. Pray that we continue to overcome this. Trump, this administration, this country, it needs our prayers. We can't go through this without God. But again, it's been a wonderful, wonderful show. I appreciate all of you guys, and we're going to do something again next year. And like I said, y'all know you guys can reach out to me anytime. And Brad, we're going to bring you back on when everything gets set up with your book, and we're going to do a whole show on it. I can't wait to do that, brother. All right.
Wow.
I appreciate it,
Can you
y'all.
link all of us guys that spoke?
Huh?
Will you link us all up, Roy? All of us dudes?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I will do. All right.
Yep.
All right, folks, that's it. We're right on. Oh, I made it a little over 2 hours. That's all right. You guys hung out with us. We appreciate it. Got much more to come. I got to get on my scheduling and everything. We got a lot of stuff going up here in the 14th. Marjorie is out, and we've got 5,236 candidates running. So a long way to go.
I've got 2 of my 20 signs out so far.
There you go. All right, guys. So
Just
you
got
all
'em last night.
have a wonderful evening. I'll see you soon. All of us coming back. I cannot accept this fate to black.
Legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.